If your portfolio is over $250,000 and you aren't hedged, you are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Markets are at all-time highs, but history shows, you know what comes next: volatility and increased risk. A 10% allocation into gold and silver can help hedge uncertainty and protect your wealth. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to hedge your portfolio with institutional-grade gold and silver. Right now, every qualified investment will receive a free 10-ounce gold coin and protect your portfolio today. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Joining us now is the next governor of the great state of Florida, Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, welcome to the program. Really quick out of the gate, we were talking about how there is this push for amnesty, and I have firsthand experience from this. Can you also confirm that you've heard these rumors as well?
I've heard talk about it on the Hill, but to be honest with you, I don't think the votes are there. I know that's not something I could support. And let's be very clear why. We've had an illegal immigration issue in the United States for really 40 years. What Joe Biden did the last 4 was the most unconscionable of all of it. So what we need to do, Charlie, is following what President Trump's already done, which is secure the southern border. That's step 1. Step 2 is finishing border wall construction and the other elements of complete border wall construction and border security at the southern border and also at the northern border. That's what the One Big Beautiful Bill did. The third piece is going to be the deportation efforts along with consistent border security. And that's where this thing is really going to either come together or fall apart. And so I think you got to accomplish the first 3, the third of which is going to take several years, really, for the American people to know that America's government is serious about securing the nation and not just playing games with border security. That's how we got into this mess in the first place. So I don't think it has the votes in the House. Number 2, that's not something I could support. We got to obviously secure the border, send a lot of people home. But when it comes to mass amnesty, I'm not there. And I think there are a lot of members that aren't there either.
Yeah, it is a red line. No mass amnesty. And you and I both are hearing the same kind of chatter and the same sort of nonsense that is being pushed. So let's now talk about how important the Big Beautiful Bill is and how it funded ICE and funded the mass deportation effort. That is what we should be emphasizing, how we're going to get deportations because of the Big Beautiful Bill. Brag on it to our audience that might not quite understand the accomplishment, the civilizational win that is included in the Big Beautiful Bill.
Well, I'll go back to border security before I get to the tax pieces. We're talking about $150 billion to do the very thing that conservatives, Republicans, and quite frankly, most Americans have been wanting to see since Reagan's amnesty in 1986. So since 1986, there was a promise from the Democrats to fund border wall construction. They reneged on that deal. Donald Trump had to fight tooth and nail just to be able to build a couple hundred miles of it. We are not going to finish border wall construction. That's in this bill. Second thing that's in this bill is the logistical forces, bed space, vehicles for Tom Homan and Kristi Noem to do the job of sending criminal illegals out of this country in a timely manner, and then beginning to work through the more than 10 million that Joe Biden let in. People need to know what Joe Biden did was a combination of things. He did asylums, he did parole. He expanded children coming across the border without adults. They were actually separating kids from their parents at the southern border because they figured it was easier back with Title 42 to bring unaccompanied minors into the country before Title 42 was rescinded, and then they had to come back in. They had to come in with an adult. So the Big Beautiful Bill lets all of us to accomplish that. When it comes to defense, it gives us money to modernize the Defense Department in terms of the war fighting effort. Wars and how they have been fought historically have changed significantly over the last decade. What Israel just did in Iran is indicative of that, where it wasn't just your airplanes, it was also drone technology being used on the ground to take out small sites on the ground. So we have to modernize DoD. That's in the bill. There is provisions in there about being able to become energy dominant, drill, baby, drill, like the president likes to talk about. That's going to mean a lot for the future of our energy security. And then when it comes to tax policy, this is the largest middle class tax cut in American history. What we did at the top rates is we kept those consistent. So your top earners just have consistent policy back from 2017. That's great stuff in tax policy. But with the new stuff, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax, I believe it's on the first, there's an additional $6,000 tax credit for Social Security benefits that helps seniors on the bottom end of the income ladder working families, middle class families. We kept small business taxes consistent. The Schedule 199A, that was scheduled to go up. So we kept that consistent over the next decade. Actually, I think that part's permanent. We brought in 100% expensing for the next couple of years. So if a business goes out and acquires a piece of equipment, they could expense that 100% on their taxes, and not have to follow some accountant-derived depreciation schedule to help the tax people in Washington, D.C. So we did monumental tax policy, which is going to stabilize not just our economy, but allow it to grow into the future with energy policy, and then the policies that Donald Trump campaigned on that the American people wanted, which is security of the border and deportations for illegals.
So explain the depreciation for some people in our audience that don't run businesses. They don't quite understand it. What will this mean for economic growth for people that are now talking about buying new machinery, buying new forklifts? What does this mean for a company, business improvements, and what is this proven to do on the industrial side of our economy?
Well, under the president's first tax policy, there was a provision for 100% what we call expensing in the first year, meaning if you buy a piece of equipment under the old tax system, you would depreciate or shave off a portion of that value over a period of years. So if you bought a hydraulic press, let's say, you would have to depreciate or take a portion of that value over the next 5 or 7 years on your taxes. And you could probably take the first 30% in year one, another 20% in year two, and that number would shrink every single year till you got to year 7. So as a business, you'd put that money out in year one, but you wouldn't be able to deduct it off your taxes until over a 7-year period, which means you delay actually seeing the benefits from a tax perspective on writing down the amount of income. What we did is say, if you bought the piece of equipment in year one, you get to deduct it in year one off your tax liability. What that's going to help businesses do is it's going to incentivize them making capital expenditures in our economy immediately, as opposed to having to find a way to scale out the cost over several years. With the president's position on trade policy, trying to bring manufacturing back to the United States, what that means is if somebody decides that they're going to get out of China and build a plant in America, they would be able to expense the cost of building that plant in the first year. Major incentive for bringing manufacturing to the United States, or for businesses currently in the United States to expand their manufacturing capabilities or any other capabilities they might be doing. Great win for economic growth in the United States.
What a phenomenal explanation there. Thank you, Byron. Byron, can you also dive into this $1,000 investment account that every new baby is going to get, the Trump baby bonus account, if you will? And look, I don't like to racialize our politics. I think that's dumb and it's terrible. But a complaint that you get and that I get whenever I talk to black communities or the black voting bloc is they say, what have politicians ever done for me or for my kids? Well, now we can say for every new baby, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, do you have a $1,000 investment account that can mature beautifully over 18 years? What will that mean, not just for the politics, but also creating stakeholders that they have some form of, dare I say, equity in the system?
Yeah, what that will do is essentially creates a wealth fund for every child in America is what it's going to do. As long as, parents or the guardian leaves those funds in the account. When you have a deposit like that, when a child is born for the first 18 years of life, I mean, assuming that the money grows at a normal interest rate, what you would have is a growing nest egg for that baby when they're born, that whether it's age 18 when they become adults and it becomes their property, or what they really should do is not touch it at all and leave it until the age of 65 or 70 or 72, whenever they decide
I agree.
to retire.
I was told, though, that it's lockboxed. Is that not true, or
Today it is. And so I would say that, the one thing about Congress is current Congress can't bind a future one. So there's something you have to stay vigilant on.
I mean, I can just imagine,
time,
I just want to understand the moral perversion. Could you imagine that we finally have a win for our kids? We finally have something that is secure and safe and one-way Dropboxed. And some degenerate Congress in the future will be like, hey, now parents can access it. So we could further rob our kids of their future. So I'm glad you put that caveat on it. But the way it's written right now, parents can't access it. Is that right?
That is correct. The way it is right now, it's lockboxed. And I would stress this is why people have to stay vigilant, because future Congresses, they can do what they want to do. But that being said, what this would do is it provides people with an ability to begin to be in the game of building wealth and really building generational wealth. And you would think like, oh, it's $1,000, it's not a lot. But when you look at time value of money, which is the eighth wonder of the world,
That's
that
right.
deposit will grow over time. For all your listeners in finance, it's called the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is that if your money earns 7.2% over a decade, it doubles over that decade. The converse is also true. If your money owns 10% over every 7.2 years, it doubles. So your 1,000 theoretically can go to 2,000 to 4,000 to 8,000. And that doesn't say about, and it doesn't say anything against the parents or that individual child deciding to open up other investment accounts and making other deposits as well. Like my son is 21, just started his job last week. The thing we talk to him about is start saving now. Just put it away, because trust me, by the time you start getting into your 60s, it'll be a major pot of money, a couple $1,000,000 actually, when you sit back and look at all the stuff you did.
So, final thought here. I know that you and your wife, Erica Baba, you guys are going to be at our Student Action Summit this weekend, are huge school choice advocates. This bill doesn't get it all done, but it's still a massive school choice win accomplishment. Just 30 seconds, brag on that for our audience, please, Byron Donalds.
For the first time ever, there are federal tax credits for school choice. You will be able to, up to a certain threshold, deduct the cost of putting your child in a school that you want from your federal income taxes. Major win for the school choice movement. There was more we wish we could have got done, but this is a great first step. And like I said, can't find a future Congress. We could always add on to it going forward.
Byron, great job. We're behind you 100% as you seek to be governor of the state of Florida. We'll see you this weekend in Tampa. God bless, my friend. Thank you.
See you, my friend. Take